right, I've got this top rail put together. I had to scab a piece on here because I needed 78 inches and that was 6 inches too short. But I just finished welding in some end stops here on both ends, so the door doesn't just keep going, which could be a disaster. I also welded on some bracing on the bottom, and when I put this, when I clamp this up, I'll be welding it, that's hot, across the top to the panel structure, and then I'll weld these also to the panel structure for rigidity, so it doesn't sag as the door rolls along it, because that's not heavy material. It's only 1/8 inch and the doors are really heavy. I know earlier on I said I was going to use bolted construction for the majority of this screen house project. In case there's some design changes later, I can just unbolt it. But in this case, I opted to weld it because the panels are such eclectic shapes. In some areas, I just don't have sufficient material to bolt through. So I thought, you know what, it's no big deal. These are just clips. I'm going to weld them on there, and if I got to change something later, I can just take a grinder really quick and zip those off. So I don't know if you can see that very well or not. It blends right in. But at any rate, yeah, so the next step, get that rail clamped up there onto the screen house structure, and then I'll lug the Miller-Matic out there and weld it up. Okay, on to the next step. Before I get carried away here, trip all over everything, I gotta lay out some drain holes. Old Ed Goslin and Goslin Farms suggested that drain holes might be appropriate in this channel rail, and he would be correct. You need some sort of drainage. Use water, you know, during rain, during monsoon. Get some sort of gack built up in there, and then the wheels that hang up, and yeah, that's no good. So yeah, we're gonna do some drain holes. But I really like this tool that I built for gripping round stock, gripping my center punch. You can go back not too many videos ago if you're interested in seeing how that was built. All right, I'll get the drill out. We'll drill some holes. I drilled some pilot holes. Now I'm going to go back and drill 5/16 diameter for the drain holes. Okay, I've got the top rail clamped in place, ready to tack weld it in place. But I made a real doofus error. I don't know what I was thinking. I got all those little support clips on there. I got them in the wrong place. I cut it and cut it and cut it and still too short. Yeah, like I'm gonna weld that to air. The only one I got right was the one on the end. Oh well, that's just metal. I'll grind those off at a later time. I'm gonna cut some more and get them clamped on there in the right place, and then I'll weld the whole thing up. So yeah. So I've got a rough sketch here of the two wheel hangers that I got to make. There's the wheel up here at top. That's going to roll in the track that I've got clamped in place outside. And then this is going to come and skirt the track and then offset and then come on down and weld to the panel. And if you turn this up and look at it this way, we've got to put a 7/8 of an inch offset in there to account for the width of the track. The width of the track is 2 inches. The door is only 1.25 inches, so which leaves a 3/4 of an inch difference. And I added another 1/8 of an inch just for clearance, so I'm not scraping along the side of the rail as this travels up and down the track. So I'm going to cut some pieces out, clamp them in the big Mongo blacksmith vise, bend that offset in it, then bolt the drill holes and bolt the wheels to these brackets, and then go hang them on the door, clamp them in place, weld it all up. All right, I got those brackets cut out of a piece of 3/16 scrap that I had. I've got the holes drilled in it for the bolts that'll go through the wheel. I've also got them laid out for the offset that I'm going to bend in. So that's the next step. All right, I got the first bracket clamped in the post vise. You can see it's right on my layout line. And as a general rule, you want to, when you're bending something in a vise, and you're going to use a hammer to do it, bend it in the opposite direction of the handle. That's the strongest part of the vise, and will take some stress off the screw. So the weapon of choice is a 3-pound cross peen hammer. Now I'm not going to wail on it, I'm just going to tap on it. I better move that first or I'll drop it on the floor. Hang on. So I've got 2 lines parallel to each other, 7/8 of an inch apart, because that's the offset that I want, that I mentioned earlier, to account for the difference between the thickness of the door and the width of the channel up above it. So I'm chucked up in the vise over there. I'm going to finish bending the first bracket, and then we'll lay it on here and compare it to the lines and see how close I am to the offset. All right, that's what I'm after, a 7/8 offset. These bends are about 50 degrees, give or take. But that's the offset I'm after. So that should clear the width of the overhead rail. This part welds to the door. And all right, I'll bend the other one up. We'll have a matching pair, and then we'll go put them on the door. We have 2 matching brackets. Just what the scrap whisperer ordered. Yeah. Okay, bolt some wheels on and go hang these on the doors. have the door shimmed on both ends to hold this where I want it. And now I'm going to put the rollers and brackets on the door and see if it's going to work. All right. I like that. That's going to work just fine. So I'll get this bolted up. I'll weld the bracket on, and then I'll do that same step to the other one, and then we'll kick the shims out and see if it rolls. All right, those are welded on there. That's going to work good. I did lube the shaft the wheels are riding on with some super lube. I was going to drill a hole in it to squirt oil once in a while, and I thought, no, that just is a place to attract dirt and water. So I left it undrilled. We just lubed the shaft with super lube, and that may be a maintenance item. We'll just see how it works. But the next step is the finishing touch. Let's get that handle welded on there. That'll work. I think I'll probably weld a little bracket on there at the bottom just to keep the door from swinging like that. Just enough to keep it fairly straight. But yeah. We're getting there. Okay, well, I think I'm going to end this one right here. I've got one more door to finish up. I'm not going to film any of that because it's the exact same process as me putting this door together. So we'll get the other door hung, and then it's time to get the welded wire mesh fencing on the inside. That's the bird screen. And we'll call this victory. Okay, well, hey, thanks for watching, everybody, and tagging along on this garden project odyssey. This has been fun. Taking a little longer than I wanted, but, you know, life gets in the way. That's the way it goes. Now I got to brave the gauntlet and move welders and tools back into the shop, and I spooked a big snake between here and the shop. He's hiding in the tall grass somewhere, and I just mowed this 4 days ago. You can see what monsoon season here in the desert does. So now I got to contend with a big snake out there somewhere, but the old big Gravely is going to be between me and the snake, so I'm not too concerned. And that's not you guys' problem anyway. So thanks for watching, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to put the wire mesh screen on the inside. We'll see you later.